I am Curran Bhatia, and this is Ask the Experts. We have a great group of guests as we look forward to a massive unification fight in the welterweight division. Errol Spence is going to be taking on Shawn Porter on September 28th, and I will be speaking to Shawn Porter. Most people are picking Spence to win this fight, but the thing about Porter is he's fought everyone in the division. He had a razor-thin loss to Keith Thurman. He completely erased Paulie Malignaggi. He took out Adrian Broner. He beat Danny Garcia. And he's beat these guys through sheer will. He gets in your face and he makes it difficult. So it's going to be a tough fight for Errol Spence. It's going to be an explosive matchup. And I talked to Shawn Porter, and we're going to ask him his game plan on that mega fight. Plus, Spence and Porter actually used to be friends. When Porter beat Danny Garcia, Errol Spence came into the ring after the fight. He congratulated Shawn Porter. He said, "I love your daddy. Let's make this fight happen." And it seemed like they were friendly. Not anymore. Spence actually has called Porter a dirty fighter. And I'm going to ask Shawn about what exactly happened to their relationship. And we're going to get Shawn Porter's official prediction. How is the fight going to play out on September 28th when he takes on the boogeyman of the division, Errol Spence? After that, I'll be talking to Otto Valene. He just went 12 rounds with lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, and he gave Fury a very tough fight. If you remember early on, Valene opened up a cut on Tyson Fury. There was actually a little bit of controversy because Fury's corner thought the cut was created by a headbutt, and that's what the referee had told them. The commission went back, reviewed it, and then ESPN went over to interview Fury's corner, and they informed them that it was actually a punch. Why does that matter? Well, that can very much change the strategy for Tyson Fury, because if that fight gets stopped, he's going to lose his so-called lineal heavyweight championship. More importantly, he's going to lose his undefeated record and probably lose the shot at Deontay Wilder in that rematch. There was another interesting moment in that fight between Fury and Otto Valene, and that was in the middle rounds. The referee kind of pulled them apart, and Otto Valene went for Tyson Fury's cut with his glove. He kind of pawed at it. You could call this an unethical move. We're not sure exactly what was happening there. Was he trying to make it dirty? I asked him about that move. What exactly happened there? It was a great performance overall by Otto Valene, and even though he came up short, he really put it all out there, especially in that 12th round. He really went for the knockout, and that's what you have to do as the underdog. After that, I will be speaking to John David Jackson. He's a well-known boxing trainer. Right now, he's training a few fighters, but most importantly, Clarissa Shields, who is actually fighting on October 5th. So we're going to ask John David how training camp is going for that fight. And it's been in the news, of course, Canelo Alvarez is fighting Sergey Kovalev. John David Jackson used to train Sergey Kovalev. They had a great run. They beat many fighters in the division, but they did not have a good splitting up. It was not a good situation. And I asked John David what exactly happened then. There was rumors that the partnership went sour because of Kovalev's training methods. Maybe he wasn't training as hard as he could. Maybe there was drinking going on. And John David actually addresses all of the rumors, what exactly happened there. And in this upcoming fight for Sergey Kovalev, where he takes on Canelo Alvarez moving up to light heavyweight for the challenge, John David is picking Canelo Alvarez, not the fighter that he used to train for a long time in Sergey Kovalev. He's picking Canelo Alvarez, so I asked him exactly why that is. What does he know about Sergey Kovalev that gives him confidence to pick Canelo in that fight? Next, I'll be talking to Andre Berto, the former champion. He was supposed to fight recently, and that fight was derailed due to injury. He got a bicep injury in sparring, so I asked him what is his exact timetable for a return. And also, he actually fought Shawn Porter 2 fights ago, and he faced the eye of the storm there in Shawn Porter, and it was obviously a tough fight for Andre Berto. Shawn Porter ended up winning that fight, knocking out Berto. So, who else better to break down what Porter Spence is going to be like than Andre Berto? Andre Berto is going to break down exactly how the matchup is going to play out. And the surprising thing is that he's going to tell us what to look out for early on. You're going to be able to tell in the early rounds who is actually executing their game plan and who has the advantage. Andre Berto is going to break that down. And finally, I mentioned John David Jackson is training Clarissa Shields. She's fighting on October 5th. Who is she fighting? Ivana Habazin from Croatia. And I will be speaking to Ivana Habazin. She's not your average opponent. She's not like every other opponent who's fighting Clarissa Shields, who may or may not have confidence or may have respect for Shields. Ivana is actually picking herself to win by knockout, and that's going to be a very tough assignment. So I asked her how she can be so confident against the undefeated, unified middleweight champion in Shields. There's also been some good smack talk back and forth between Ivana Habazin and Clarissa Shields. So I asked Ivana what's going on there, what happened on social media, what happened at the press conferences. She's going to tell us about that, and she's going to break down her plan against Clarissa Shields. But without further ado, let me get to the first guest. As I said, Saturday, September 28th, we have the mega fight. It's a unification in the welterweight division. Errol Spence Jr., a.k.a. The Truth, a.k.a. The Boogeyman, because no one wants to fight this guy. They're scared to fight this guy. And you know who has actually no problem doing that? Shawn Porter. He will fight anyone. And that is why I was very excited to speak with Shawn Porter as he prepares for Errol Spence. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Shawn Porter. I am Curran Bhatia, and let's ask the experts. Curran Bhatia talking to Shawn Porter. So, Shawn, obviously, on September 28th, you are fighting the quote-unquote boogeyman, Errol Spence, pay-per-view, Fox, Staples Center. It's going to be huge. So I'm sure you get this question a lot, but they call him the boogeyman, right? No one wants to fight this guy. Everyone's been avoiding this guy, and you have no problem doing so. So why have you accepted this challenge, and why are you willing to take a risk that not a lot of other people in the division are?
Yeah, I think that it's just a part of me, man. It's a part of who I am. I'm used to being counted out. I'm used to taking on the biggest challenges, man. Really quickly, when I was going for the Olympic Games and trying to make the team, they take 8 guys to the trials. I fought in the 165-pound division, and out of those 8 guys that were there at the trials, about 6 of us easily could have been the representative for that weight class. I mean, each and every guy in that weight class was tough, was hard to fight, great style, great boxers. I've been up against stuff like that my entire life, you know. So to go up against a guy who's regarded as "quote unquote" the boogeyman, or looked at as a guy who's feared and no one wants to fight him. So a lot of reasons why guys didn't want to fight Errol Spence. To start, he was a young up and coming guy, and nobody wanted to take the risk of losing to a young up and coming guy, or being exposed by a young up and coming guy. You know, so everybody's like, "Yo, you gotta wait your turn." I was the one that said, "Hey, you get a belt, and I'll see you soon." And once he got that belt, it was just a matter of time. So I'm in a position right now where, this is what I do. This is who I've been my entire life. So I'm the one who's always taken on big challenges throughout my life, boxing and every other sport, and even academically, everything that I've done has always been a big challenge for me. So this is familiar territory for me. So we know that you'll take on anyone in the division. You've never shied away from that, and you get credit for that. We've seen you with a couple different styles. A lot of times it's Shawn Porter, the bulldog, right, who's going to get right in your face and not let you move and just apply that relentless pressure. I've heard announcers say it's like being in the middle of a hurricane, right? There's nowhere to go. Now, we've also seen you kind of box from the outside a little bit in your last fight against Ugas. Tried to box a little bit more. Obviously, you don't want to give your game plan away, but can you give us a little bit of a preview? I mean, I'm sure you've studied a lot of tape on Spence. What style do you think we'll expect on September 28th from Shawn Porter? You know what? I think with Errol Spence, everything is required. I think there are going to be times where you're going to see me box and use my feet. There are going to be times where you see me get into his chest and dig his body and, hit him and pressure him and test him really the way you've never seen him be tested. Or never see anyone go at him, I did 13 rounds yesterday of sparring. Yesterday was my last and hardest sparring session of camp. And throughout those 13 rounds, we mixed it up a lot. We did a lot of different things, So in this fight, I think it's really going to depend on what we feel is going to be the best way to beat him, whether it's in a moment or in a certain round.
And do you look at, I produced a show, PBC Countdown. There's also PBC Fight Camp, which is you looking at training camp. Are you looking at what he's doing? Because you just told me a little bit about how much you're sparring. He's known for doing 15 rounds of sparring in an 105 degree gym. Are you looking at a little bit of what he's doing in training as well?
I have not. The funny thing is I stay away from the countdown and face-to-face and all this stuff. I hate seeing myself on TV. I'm my own worst critic, and And I just, I really get uncomfortable watching myself on TV. So I really have stayed away from it. I do have it all recorded just so that we can, so that I can take a look at some things. So I'm sure at some point I will take a look at how his training has gone, what his mentality looks like through his training, what his camp and their mentality looks like through training. I think that what you're doing, not only from a physical standpoint of training, but also from a psychological standpoint of training, it all becomes what we call muscle memory. So your brain is a muscle, and whatever they're saying and doing in camp, whatever I see on the TV, on the clips, on social media, things like that, it's pretty safe to say that that's what they're going to expect to do in the ring. So I think I will be able to get a good glimpse of what to expect in the ring next week, man. It's coming up quick.
It's coming up quick, September 28th, like we said. That's coming up in a week. So you and Errol, just personally, you guys were always friends. He came into the ring and he said, "I love your daddy. Let's get it on." So obviously you were close. But in recent times, he said that he called you a dirty fighter. I'm sure you didn't like that. So has your relationship changed at all now that you guys are preparing for this fight?
You know what? For Errol and I, as we get closer, I think it's the competitive spirit for both of us is like probably at an all-time high. The first guy that I got in the ring with as a professional that I was really familiar with was Keith Thurman. Keith and I had gone back in the amateur program, had never fought against each other, but we just were very familiar with one another. So for us to get in the ring, it was just, we were friends and we were going to fight. And then after that, we were going to be friends again. With Errol Spence, I really don't know. It was like, we were cordial. This fight is happening. And I think him and I both know that it's, I feel like, my back is against the wall. I think he feels the same way. I really don't know what's going to happen after this fight. This kid's going to take his first loss. I know what that feels like. It's a lot weighing on him. He's got, he's the favorite, and, nobody's expecting him to lose. He's not expecting himself to lose. So I know after he takes his loss, there's going to be a lot coming at him all at once. So we'll see what happens. Maybe maybe our friendship will still be there.
And I can hear the confidence in your voice already, preparing for Errol Spence's loss and getting, preparing that way. That's great. When he called you a dirty fighter, I mean, what did you think about that? You couldn't have been happy about that.
Yeah, I really didn't care. For me, it's like, if you are concerned about quote unquote dirty tactics that Shawn Porters is going to do in the ring, then you're going to miss some other things that Shawn Porter does very, very well outside of quote unquote being dirty, So I think that, his mind, even at that, you read into that, you say maybe your mind is focused on other things that aren't as important as just me being a pure boxer and a pure competitor in this sport that's going to really, test you and give you all you can handle.
And your preparation for this fight, I know you have 3 different coaches. You're doing interesting sparring. You sparred with David Benavidez. I think you were thinking about sparring with Demetrius Andrade. I'm not sure if that ended up happening. What have you learned from those sparring sessions?
When we sparred with David Benavidez, we wanted to go out to Cali just before we left for DC. We wanted to get in the ring with another world champion and really see where I was at that point in camp. I think at that point we were about 4 weeks away from the fight, and we knew at that point, we proved to ourselves at that point that everything was what we expected. The conditioning was there, even from the psychological standpoint of being able to think in the ring, make adjustments in the ring, listen to the corner, all the things that need to happen in the fight. My dad likes to put me into a fight atmosphere so that we know that we're ready for that big moment, So with Boo Boo, we weren't able to get Boo Boo in. He's got a lot of personal things going on back home, and I just wished him well. His mom is going through some things. I just wished him well. And then, of course, without me asking, he shot right back at me a whole bunch of notes for me to look over. And, he's in my corner, and I love him to death and back. Just coming back to Vegas, our last hard sparring session, 13 rounds yesterday with the guy. about 5'10", and about 185 pounds. So that was then there's the mama's boy Douglin, and he's been in a lot of big fights as a professional as well. So we've done it all, man, up to this point, man. At this point, we're in cruise control. I'm about to hit yoga, feel good, feel great, and make our way to LA and get ready for this big one.
Perfect. Okay, only a couple more questions because I know you have to get to yoga. So, you just talked about what you do in training camp, the hard sparring. We have the multiple coaches all doing different things. You're doing swimming, you're doing strength work, you're doing track work, you're doing a bunch of things. So, last fight when you fought against Ugas, I know you put in a really long camp, and you had a game plan, and then on the way to the ring, and you talked about this on the countdown show, is that your dad whispered in your ear and he said, "Tonight we're not going to get in this guy's face. We're going to box." So what happened there? Like, you have a game plan for 8+ weeks and then you kind of change it on the way to the ring. So why did your dad make that decision on the way to the ring there?
He told me that he went to lay down to get some rest before we left for the fight. He said as he started to fall asleep, he felt something. He said he heard God tell him that, verbatim, he said, "God told me to tell you that he can't keep up with you." And, Team Porter knows what that means. That means I'm too fast. I'm too quick. And he said, "Tonight we're just going to use our feet. We're going to use our hands. We're going to make this a clean fight." And that's what I went out there and did. Somebody else asked me, if that happens again with this fight, will you follow that, or will you follow through with the game plan? I really don't anticipate that happening in this fight. I think that everything that we've gotten from this standpoint in terms of wisdom, knowledge, preparation, all of that we've gotten from God already. And I think that we're locked and loaded and ready to do what we've planned and designed to do from the start. So I don't expect anything like that to happen. If it does, we will definitely go with our hearts and do what we got to do.
And even with changing the game plan, it was a close fight in that one of the scorecards went to Ugas, but at the end of the day, you did what you had to do, and then you got through that tough opponent and set yourself up for now. When you look back at your career, only 2 losses to Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. Of those losses, I'm sure you learned a lot. Which one of those was harder for you to go through, and which one did you learn more from?
Both. Kell Brook. Kell Brook was the harder fight to go through after the result, and it was also the fight that I learned the most from. I did learn a lot in my fight with Keith Thurman as well, and even now, you say, what would you have done differently? And I said, there's just really small things I would have done differently, but for the most part, we did exactly what we wanted to do going into the ring against Keith Thurman. With Kell Brook, there were no adjustments. That I was locked and loaded on one mind. I didn't listen to my corner. I went at him one way for the entire fight. I mean, the list goes on, and I learned a lot about myself in and out of the ring with the fight with Kell Brook. So that's the one that that I let the belt get away from me, and I told myself, once I was able to recognize, after going through the emotional upset, and just being mad and upset at myself and things like that, and once I started to reflect and learn from the fight, I told myself, I would never go through that again. And to this point, I have not. I don't expect to. And
you have you went through those fights. You got past that adversity, and now it's all systems go here for September 28th with Kell Brook. Do you look at what Errol Spence did against Kell Brook? Does that matter at all? Obviously styles make fights, so it's a completely different thing. But do you look at his matchup and say, wow, okay, well, this is a little bit concerning because he was able to kind of stop this guy? Obviously the eye situation for Kell, but was that concerning at all? Seeing what Errol Spence did?
Listen, for me, when I look at that fight, it's not about me learning things to do against Errol Spence. Honestly, when I watched that fight, I put into my mind, this kid is dominant. If you allow him to get his way, he will be dominant. This is who he is as a fighter and as a person. And for me, watching the fight with him and Kell Brook is more of a psychological lesson for me than it is physical or anything like that. So I just have in my mind this is going to be 12 hard rounds. This kid's not going to stop. He's going to want to get his way. He's a lot like me. When he doesn't, he's going to want to impose his will and do whatever he feels he needs to do in order to get his way. You know, so that's what I take away from that fight. There are other fights that, you know, I've learned some things from, but, you know, collectively, I think with that fight specifically, it's not a style or certain punch or anything like that I take away from. It's who he is as a fighter. That's what I take away from that fight.
And just to close it out, so this question is from Parth Mookie. He was actually the PA on your show with Fight Camp, so he got to watch you in all your different training. So he wanted me to ask you, what is the Porter way? Tell us about what does that mean to you, the Porter way?
And I'm going to get closer. Listen, This is the Porter way. The Porter way, we don't stop. We don't accept no for an answer. We do whatever it takes when we have to do that. We love. We love on one another. We try to extend our love to everyone around us. We try to be inspiring. We try to be motivating. We try to be everything positive, nothing negative. When it comes to this fight, we haven't listened to anything negative about this fight. We don't entertain it. We understand that we always have to prove ourselves. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from Northeast Ohio. In Northeast Ohio, nothing is given. Everything is earned. That's a quote by LeBron James, and that's absolutely true. I'm from a blue-collar city. We work hard, and then we enjoy ourselves on the weekend, and then we get right back to work. With this fight, I'm right back to work. I'm going to work all night. I'm going to do whatever it takes to leave the ring with 2 belts.
Hey, I'm certainly motivated and pumped, and I can't wait for the fight. So last question. I know as a prediction, you're obviously picking yourself to win, but are we going to expect a kind of a 12-round fight where you're in his face all night? Are we going to see a knockout? What is your official prediction of how it's going to go down?
Honestly, this is boxing. You never really know what's going to happen. I'm sure me winning this fight alone is going to shake up the world. I think the way that I win this fight is really going to shake up the world. I catch him with a right hand, a good body shot, anything like that. I'm able to jump on him and get him out of there. That's exactly what I expect to do, and that's what I want to do. You know, and I know that he's coming to the ring with the exact same mindset. You know, so it's my will against his will. It's my heart against his heart. It's my skills against his speed. Same. You know, the list goes on. This fight, I really can't make a prediction of how I win this fight. But a lot like when I fought Danny Garcia, I refused to leave the ring to leave the city of New York without that green belt. I refuse to leave LA without being a unified champion, and I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see it. Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence, Saturday, September 28th. It's on Fox pay-per-view. It's at the Staples Center in LA. Shawn Porter, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck with this challenge with Errol Spence, and hopefully we can talk to you after the fight.
It's showtime. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the great Shawn Porter, not lacking in any confidence of any kind, and in his mind, he's already beat Errol Spence. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it's going to be actually a lot closer than a lot of people think. Errol Spence has never really been challenged in that way. We haven't seen him face too much adversity. We haven't seen him really hurt. He's wiped out opponents, and I think this is going to be a different test for him. I think Spence is going to have success in the end, but I do think it's going to be a very different test than he's used to, and I think we're going to see a lot about who Errol Spence is and who Shawn Porter is. And speaking about learning about who fighters are, we learned a lot about Tyson Fury. Can he handle adversity? Well, he did handle it against Otto Valene. Otto actually opened up a big cut early on against Tyson Fury, and he capitalized on that. He went for that. He went for the home run knockout in the 12th round. And another thing Otto did, which I talked to him about, is he made the fight dirty. And that's what you have to do as the underdog. You have to make the champion, in this case the lineal champion, you have to make that person uncomfortable. You have to make them not happy to be in there. And Otto was able to do that. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Otto Valene. This is Curran Bhatia speaking with Otto Valene, who just came off the great fight with Tyson Fury. Otto, you reintroduced yourself to a new audience here. You came forward, you showed heart. So what was it like for you to take on Tyson Fury? What was the whole experience like?
It's been a great experience. It was a big moment for me, to be on the big stage in Las Vegas and fighting the best heavyweight in the world. And I think that I stood up well. I wish I would have won the fight, but at least I gave my all. And you can't be disappointed when you give your all. And I've done everything I can in training in the fight, so I'm still pretty happy with it. But I would have liked to win, of course.
You would have liked to win, but do you take any satisfaction in the fact that you actually landed 127 punches on Tyson Fury, and that's more than Vladimir Klitschko. That's more than Deontay Wilder in their first fight. Do you take any satisfaction in that? Is that like a moral victory in a way?
Yeah, it is. I was happy when I saw those numbers because it's like a proof that I did something very good in there. I landed a lot of shots, and also it shows that we had a good game plan going into the fight. And I'm always happy with my team, and I'm very confident in my team and myself. So I'm happy about it. And
the other thing that you did that I thought you did well as the quote unquote underdog here was that you made it a dirty fight, which is something you want to do when you're the underdog, because you want to make the champion, in this case, the lineal champion, you want to make him uncomfortable. And he actually ended up having to get 47 stitches. So do you take pride in that a little bit, that you were able to at least make it uncomfortable? It wasn't a walk in the park by any means. It was a competitive fight, and you made it dirty.
Yeah, but it wasn't a dirty move or anything that opened the cut. It was a punch. But of course, I wanted him to know that he was in a fight, because I think a lot of other guys that he's fought didn't do that. So I wanted to show that I'm there to win and do everything I can to beat him, and wanted to show him that he was in a fight, and I think I did that.
100%. You opened up the cut early with a punch. It definitely was a punch, no doubt about that. The only questionable move, and of course I have to ask, I think it was after the 6th round, you guys were kind of jawing at each other, and then you put your glove up and kind of pawed at the cut a little bit. What happened there?
I haven't watched the fight, so I can't really recall, to be honest. But yeah. I heard, other people saying that too, but I can't really recall it right now. I gotta watch it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. The ref was kind of trying to break you up, and you put your hand up, trying to get the cut. So I've read reports. Said he wanted to make it dirty, so you wanted to also make it dirty. So I'm guessing that was just in your mindset. Hey, I'm just gonna go for it and try to make this as dirty as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't say dirty as possible, but it's a fight, and you want to do what you can to win. And like I said, I wanted to show Tyson that he was in a fight, and everybody used dirty moves, and it happens, and it's boxing, and it's part of the game.
The other thing I read that you said was that if it was anyone else, they probably would have stopped the fight. So do you feel that he got a little bit, Tyson Fury, that is, got a little bit of special treatment there, that they didn't stop the fight?
I don't know. I mean, it was a bad cut. He actually had 2 cuts, and it was pretty bad. So I wish they would have stopped it, but I understand why they didn't do it, because he is the champ, and the big draw, and top ranked fighter. Also, Tyson made it. He still was fighting good. So he of course wanted them not to stop it by keep fighting. So he deserves some respect that he still was fighting good with that big cut.
He does, and actually the one other thing that I thought you did really well is in that 12th round, you really went for it all. It was almost like a home run punch in the 12th round, or a series of punches there. Did you feel that in the 12th round that you really needed to knock this guy out, and is that why you came out so aggressively in the last round?
Yeah, because I had a few tough rounds before that, and it was the last round. I just wanted to let it all hang out there, and he wasted a lot of energy in those rounds before, so I knew that he was getting tired. I was getting tired, but I just wanted to leave it all in the ring.
There was one other interesting issue there when we were watching on the broadcast, and that was that Tyson Fury's team originally thought that it was a headbutt. That's what the referee had told them. As we know, the commission went back and reviewed it, and it definitely was a punch. but the ESPN went over and kind of asked Fury's team about that, and they ended up informing his team that it was a punch, not a headbutt. Now, I'm just curious, now that you know that, what do you think about that? Because that obviously changes his game plan and his approach if he knows it was a punch versus a headbutt.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that. I read that article yesterday about that, and I'm not sure what to think about it, but I don't think they should get involved with those kind of questions. So I'm not sure what was going on there.
So looking ahead, you introduced yourself to this mainstream audience. You put on a great performance. And what I said after is that I don't think anyone's looking forward to getting a crack with Otto Wallin because you're a very tough out. You have a really great chin. So the question obviously is, who do you want next? I know that you're probably looking at the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder winner if they are able to get that fight going early next year. Who do you want next?
To be honest, I only had 1 round in 18 months before this fight, so that's way too little. But it wasn't my fault. I had some bad luck this last year, so I just want to get back in the ring. Have a few fights, pick up some wins, and just keep developing and getting my experience, and hopefully get in line to fight for one of the world titles. I would love to fight the winner of Fury and Wilder, Joshua Ruiz. So. Yeah, we'll see what's happening.
And after the fight, Andy Ruiz tweeted that he felt he could beat Tyson Fury if Tyson Fury had one hand tied behind his back. What do you make of Andy Ruiz? Is that someone you'd want to fight? And how do you think stylistically that fight would go down? Yeah,
of course I want to fight. I want to fight the guy with the belts, and I want to fight for heavyweight world championship. And Andy has those belts, but I got a lot of respect for Andy. He's a great fighter. And he even texted me after the fight saying that I did a good job and I should be proud of myself. So I respect that. But yeah, I would like to fight him as the other guys. So I think his style is pretty good for me. He's smaller than me, but nothing will come easy. It would take a lot of hard work, but I think I can beat him.
And, of course, the other big name in the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua, who's taking on Ruiz in the rematch. Would you want to crack eventually at Anthony Joshua? And what do you think about Anthony Joshua?
I think Anthony Joshua is a very good fighter as well. And I think that fight is a 50-50 fight. I think it can go either way. Joshua had Ruiz down the first time. And then I felt like he jumped it a little too soon because Andy wasn't ready to go. And then Anthony got hurt. So it was a real fun fight to watch, and I think it's going to be the same this time. And I don't know who's going to win. I think it's going to be a really tough fight.
You think it's going to be a tough fight? If I had to put a gun to your head, if you had to make a prediction, who's going to win that rematch, Ruiz versus Joshua?
Oh, that's very hard. But if I have to pick someone, I'll pick Ruiz.
The hand speed is always dangerous. And then one more gun to your head question. You were just in the ring with Tyson Fury, so you know him really well. He's obviously going into the rematch, hopefully, with Wilder. We know in the last fight, Wilder found that right hand in the 12th round. What do you make of that rematch? How do you think that fight's going to play out, Wilder versus Fury too?
I think that Fury is going to outbox him again. But, yeah, Wilder probably is going to watch this fight and think and see a lot of things that I was doing that he would like to do as well. So, but yeah, anything can happen with Wilder, but I would put my money on Fury.
You put your money on Fury, and that's great that you kind of gained some respect after.
I would say that because Fury, he's come back now. Yes, he was pretty recent out of his retirement when he fought Wilder, and now he's had a couple other fights. He had a tough fight with me. That cut is not too good. We'll see how that's healing up and see what's going to happen with that. But I would say Fury anyways.
And being in the ring with Fury, he's always kind of talking to you and trying to get the mental advantage. Did he do that, and did that work at all on you in terms of talking to you or trying to get the mental edge?
No. I mean, he was talking a little bit, but the referee told us not to talk. But I think I had him out of his comfort zone because there was a few times where he was really upset with me. So he would say stuff like, he would cuss at me and stuff. And you don't usually see that with him. So I think what I was doing was working.
You clearly got under his skin and you made him uncomfortable. So after the fight, I know you took a couple of days. You were still in Vegas and kind of enjoying and relaxing as you should and healing. And now you're back in Sweden. What was it like to go back to Sweden? Was it a hero's welcome?
Yeah, it was. I had some media meeting me at the airport, and it's been nice. Yesterday I was in the TV, the morning shows, the radio. So it's been a lot of hype, and people are congratulating me even if I lost. So it feels like a victory in a way.
And how are you dealing with the new? Not that people knew you before, but now a lot of people know you. So it's a new type of fame. How are you dealing with that new type of fame?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I always wanted to prove myself. I was waiting for a shot like this, and finally it came, and I took it. I didn't win, but it was a good fight. And now I just gotta stay focused, train even harder, and then I get ready to beat these guys.
Yeah, no, you showed your heart, you showed your chin, you showed that you're a come forward fighter, that you'd be a tough out for anyone. So just obviously you're going to take some time now in Sweden, and you're gonna get back and rest and recover. So as a timetable for your return, are you going to wait and see what happens with the Fury Wilder rematch and then decide about when you're going to come back, maybe next year, spring of next year?
No, I'm not going to wait for anybody.
Okay.
I need some rest. It was a tough fight, so I need some rest for my head, but I'll be training. But I will take a few months off fighting and sparring. But I'm looking to be back at latest early next year.
Otto Valene, well, thank you for giving us a great, entertaining fight. It was a great performance. I'm glad you were able to introduce yourself that way to this new audience. And best of luck to you. And hopefully, we'll like you said, we'll see you in the ring sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That was Otto Valene, who introduced himself in a way to a mainstream audience. And one thing I want to say, Otto Valene put on a great performance. I read somewhere that Tyson Fury was exposed in a way because he went 12 rounds and it wasn't the best performance from him. I actually completely disagree. He definitely was not exposed. I mean, there was a massive gash on his face, and I think if anything, he showed that he can get through adversity, and that actually should be applauded. I think Otto Valene did great in terms of showing us who he is, showing us he has a great chin, going for the win. But I also think Tyson Fury did great, getting through the cut, getting through that adversity, and finding a way to win and keep the Deontay Wilder rematch, which we all want to see, keeping that alive. Obviously, Deontay Wilder has to get past Luis Ortiz for us to see that. Up next, John David Jackson. So John David Jackson has been in the news. He's training Clarissa Shields, who's preparing for a fight, as we know. But Canelo and Kovalev have signed to fight on November 2nd. And John David was Kovalev's trainer for a long period of time. They had a ton of success together. Now, here's the problem. They split up, and it wasn't a very friendly experience. In fact, Kovalev now said, after 10 years, I finally have gotten a real coach. That's a quote from Kovalev. So I actually asked John David, I said, how do you feel about that? This is someone that you trained for so long. There was also John David commenting on Kovalev losing. He said without proper training, he's going to get his ass whipped. That was John David's read. So I asked him about his experience watching these recent fights where he hasn't been with Kovalev. I spoke to him about that and more. So without further ado, here is John David Jackson. This is Curran Bhatia of the Ask the Experts podcast, talking to John David Jackson. So John David, you're working with Clarissa Shields, getting ready for the big fight on October 5th. She's taking on Ivana Habazin. So Ivana was pretty confident at the press conference. She said that she likes being the underdog, and she actually said that she plans to knock out Clarissa Shields. So what was your reaction at the press conference hearing that?
Well, I just kind of laughed at it and took it with a grain of salt. Here's a young lady that she's a decent fighter, but she hasn't reached Clarissa's stature, and for her to say she want to knock Clarissa out, that's just her trying to build a fight up. We're not taking her lightly, but when I watched her in her fights on video, she's like a step down from Christina Hammer or the girl Hannah Gabriel. So she's a step below them. So if she feels she can knock Clarissa out, that's what she's thinking. But we'll see come October 5th.
October 5th, Clarissa will be fighting in Flint, Michigan, her hometown. I'm sure she's going to have the support there. I know in the past you've wanted Clarissa to go for the knockout. I'm guessing that's going to be the same thought process here. You want her to press and hopefully get the knockout, which is hard to do in women's boxing, but I'm sure that's the goal, right?
That's definitely a goal. It makes her fights more exciting. You know, she's a good puncher. She just in the past, she flailed away with her shots. You know, she didn't really sit down on her punches. She would just, throw whatever she was throwing to try to get the girl out of there. But now she's settling down more and she's picking her shots better and she's punching a lot harder. So that's what we're going for, the knockout, to make her, she's already exciting, but make her more exciting. And, the more you knock people out, the more your money grows.
Absolutely, and not to look past Ivana Habazin, who's going to be a tough test. She's from Croatia. She's got the 3 losses, but it's going to be a tough test. But is there a dream match that you would have for Clarissa? There's so many stars in women's boxing. Amanda Serrano just beat Heather Hardy. Alicia Napoleon Espinosa's on the come up. Cecilia Breikhouse. Now the issue with Clarissa is it doesn't seem like the weight class necessarily matches up with the other stars. Is there a dream fight that you have for Clarissa?
Not really. We're just taking one at a time. Like you said, Cecilia would be a great fight. I don't, if they made like a 54, that'd be great. Because for her, it would be hard to make 54 because she's coming up. She probably walks around maybe about 154, maybe. But for Clarissa, she'd have to come down to stay at 54, which she's at now. I think it'd be an even matched fight to a degree. I mean, Cecilia's kind of long in the tooth for boxing. She's been around for a while. So, Clarissa would have the upper hand, in that regard. But, it should be an interesting fight. I see Clarissa being victorious, but I see that, Cecilia's a very cagey veteran fighter. So she may give Clarissa some problems early going, but I think her power and her youth will take over in the end, and she'd be victorious. But as far as a big money fight, I told Clarissa to stay, stay busy and stay active, keep winning. I think within the next year or two, somebody's gonna come out the woodwork that's gonna be good. That's gonna challenge you to, for your belts and see if you're still the best.
Absolutely, and let's hope that fight with Cecilia Breikhouse does come together. Breikhouse, 35 wins, no losses, but like you said, the age difference will play a factor. Cecilia Breikhouse is 37 years old. So the other topic that's obviously in the news, and I have to ask you work with Sergey Kovalev for such a long time, and now he has departed working with you. He's now with Buddy McGirt, and he's going to be taking on Canelo Alvarez on November 2nd. You've been in the news recently, and you've said that you feel that Canelo is actually going to have the edge in that match. Is that because you feel like Kovalev is vulnerable to the body, and we know that Canelo is such a good body puncher? He's knocked, Rocky Fielding, Liam Smith. He's knocked people out with body shots. So is that how you see that matchup playing out?
Well, I think that Canelo picked Sergey for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's on the decline. He was champion years ago, and he lost and won it back, but. He's on decline. He doesn't train like he once did. His living habits are terrible. Making weight is hard for him now. There's a lot of factors that play into it why they picked him. Before light heavyweight champions, he's the weakest link right now. And so they were smart. He has a good name on the way down, so they picked him. And they played it smart because, the other guys are, Better Be, I believe his name is, he's tough. Beagle, he can box. And the other kid, I can't find out his name, but he's the WBC champion. He's a good boxer. So they were smart to pick Kovalev because he has a great name, but he's on the decline of his career. And he has been stopped by bodies. She's been stopped. Ward knew what to do, and he went to work on him. And in the last yard, he was winning. If he had more experience, he would have won that fight. But, lack of experience hurt him. And, that was his major downfall. Because I talked to the trainer before the fight happened, like a month before the fight happened. I said, listen, if you go to the body, it's a known fact. Sergey can't take the body. He can't take body punches. He had no inside game. He never wanted to learn that. For a man who said, I never taught him anything, he never wanted to learn how to fight on the inside. So that was one of his downfalls. And so for Canelo, he's smart to pick Sergey. Great name. Still up there with the top of the champions, but on the decline. A lot of fans don't realize that he's on the decline of his career right now. So they catch him at the right time.
He is catching him at the right time, and like you said, there's other great names in the division. I think Gvozdyk is the other title holder, is another really good fighter. Sergey Kovalev was interviewed recently by the Washington Post, and he said, "I believe in Buddy McGirt 100%." He said, and I quote, "This is a real coach. After 10 years, I finally have gotten a real coach." So when you hear something like that, I mean, what's your reaction to Sergey saying that?
Listen, he had Don Turner. That's a real coach. He had Errol Sanchez. He's got a good name. He had myself. He went back and got a Russian coach when he finished me. All these guys aren't real coaches. Now Buddy's a real coach. Listen, Buddy's a good guy. And I'm happy for Buddy. He's getting to work. I hope he's getting paid. But sometimes when you get good trainers like that, and they all leave the fighter, it has to be the fighter. That's not the trainers. You can't have all these good names train you or try to teach you, and then for one reason or another leaving you. That means you're doing something wrong. It's not the trainers. Sometimes in his life he needs to look in the mirror and really just be honest with himself. It's his reasoning and his problem why we all left him. It's not because of us. It's because of him. But until he wakes up and really gets in the mirror and is honest with himself, he'll never come true with it. But that's okay. Buddy's a good guy, and I'm glad for Buddy. Whatever Buddy can get, that's fine. But you can't teach a guy how to fight when he's want to learn. So that's it. That was his shortcoming. His stubbornness and being hard-headed. But that's okay, because you know what? Once Canelo gets done with him, hey, one thing you can say, he's kind of cashing out. You're going to get payday. You can go on and live your life now. You don't have to worry about him any longer. After Canelo gets finished with him, he's done. There's nothing else. He's finished. He can't come back and say, I want another shot. He's done.
And so you feel after November 2nd, that's going to be the last time we see Sergey Kovalev in a boxing ring?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, he's on the decline of his career. They declined of his career. He still got a decent name, but he lost another fight. What good is he really? If he wins, hey, good for him. But if he loses, he's done. But guess what? He walks with a great payday, and there's no more worries for you.
Right, and to what you said earlier, I just wanted to say, I've seen you work in person. You're obviously a great trainer. I've been up to Big Bear to see Abel Sanchez. He's a great trainer. I actually visited Don Turner in Arapahoe, North Carolina, a great boxing mind. So these are all great boxing trainers. And like you said, you shouldn't necessarily scapegoat your trainer if you're not doing the right things in camp or preparing the right way. Before you guys kind of had your split in the second Andre Ward fight, I was just curious about your reaction to the way the fight ended. Obviously, Ward going to the body. It was questionable if some of the shots were low, but they ended up stopping the fight, and Ward won by knockout. Just curious about your thoughts there as Kovalev's trainer at the time. Did you feel like the shots were low there at the end of the second Andre Ward fight?
Listen, some of them may have been. I'm not sure. I've never watched that fight. I've never watched it. I was there live, so I've never watched it. But okay, some of the blows may have been low, but guess what? If you're a fighter, it's a fight, man. Listen, hit him back low. If the referee doesn't say anything, guess what? Retaliate. Let this guy know we're going to fight tonight. I'm not going to cry to the referee while he got hit low. Retaliate. And then guess what? I guarantee you, Ward would have stopped doing that. Because now this guy's hitting me back low too. Okay, let me stop. But, he didn't do that. And like I said, because he had no inside game whatsoever. I tried to show it to him, but he didn't want to learn. He didn't want to listen. And listen, the fans sometimes need to realize this. Here's a guy who got drunk at the second fight press conference in front of Ward and Virgil Hunter. You got drunk up on stage. They knew right there that your body was weak. If you have not enough sense to conceal that or do it later on by yourself, he got drunk sloppy drunk in front of them. So they knew right then the body was weak. Nothing else had to be said. So that's his fault. But you can't blame him. But he won't take the blame for that. You the one got drunk up on him, and you gave away one of your secrets that you get a drinking habit. That's your fault. You can't blame that on him. And that was one reason why Ward knew he had to go to the body. Right then, he knew.
And was that a constant thread with your time with Sergey? You guys achieved so much, winning multiple titles and beating top names in the division like Bernard Hopkins and so many others. But was that an issue in terms of you felt that Sergey's commitment wasn't necessarily there in training camp and the rumors of drinking and stuff? Was that true?
Well, with these passing fights, once he won the title, he changed. He became a totally different person. And with each passing fight, with the I think it was the first Pascal fight, John Pascal, he got drunk in camp. And I said, what's wrong with you? You can't do this. He got drunk in camp. And, so with each passing fight he became worse and worse, progressively worse with what he would do, and he trained less. And when I say train less, I don't mean he went in camp training, but the train as hard as he trained before he was champion. That same hunger, that same desire was no longer there. When before he became champion, he was hungry. He wanted it. He didn't have. He was hungry. But once he became champion, all the things that he wanted, he began to get. And guess what? He became soft and didn't train as hard as he once had, and that's what hurt him. But he blames. He tells his fans that. He tells the reporters all that. He wants to blame everybody else for his shortcomings. Look in the mirror and blame yourself for all the things that you didn't achieve, because you're the one in the end who has to accept that. Because you're the if I'm doing something on my own and you're showing me, I can't blame you when it doesn't work because you showed me to do it. I just didn't do it. I take the blame for myself. Now, he's never listened to that. He won't take the blame for himself when something goes bad. He wants to blame everybody else.
And in terms of your separation from him, like we talked about the second Andre Ward fight, and after that you guys parted ways. Was that partially your decision because of these frustrations in terms of the commitment to training and the drinking and all that, or was that there was also the situation that was brought up before that fight that Andre Ward's team had contacted you about working with them, and I'm sure that didn't help the situation. So what exactly happened there when you guys broke up?
Well, it's like like me and Don Turner talked. Because they brought Don. Don always is the cut man still, even after everything he trained. And I told Don after the second fight, I think I'm gonna walk away from this guy because he's just not listening anymore. He would bring his friends into camp and say, "This guy's gonna show me how to fight today." I was looking and said, "Really? Okay." So it's things he doesn't tell the public or his fans or anybody the things that he did to lead to his demise. He doesn't think that. If he wants to blame me or anybody he can blame for his failure. But Don Turner and I talked to answer your question. And before the second fight, I said, "Man, this is probably my last fight with him because I can't take it anymore. He doesn't listen. He's not trying to listen. He wants to do everything his way." And Don said, "I agree with you." He said, "Man, he's going to lose this fight because he could see right then he just wasn't the same guy. He wasn't listening at that point." So for me, that was my thing. And plus, the war thing it's come up, but it just took too long, to materialized, and a part of me was I felt kind of obligated to Kathy Duva because she always had my back. So I said, let me stay here because of Kathy Duva and try to weather the storm and work this thing out. But after the second fight, I definitely do. Right before, I wouldn't be there before the second fight had even finished because I knew things were getting bad all around.
And just to be clear, with the Andre Ward situation, that they did contact you to work with him, but you declined because you were working with Sergey. Right.
Yeah. Well, no, to be honest with you, because we were going back and forth with the money. It just took longer than I anticipated it would take. So I had to make a decision: do I stick with them or do I stick with Sergey? And I said, listen, let me stop this. And I just went with Kovalev's team because I talked to Kathy Duva and I talked to the manager, and we worked out an agreement where I would get paid through them. So I said, let me just stay loyal to you people, and we just worked it out. And I understand, the Ward offer was entertaining, and only two people had discussed it. Was he, it was myself and his lawyer. I never talked to James Prince. I never talked to Andre. It was just the lawyer and I just talked, and then we would go back and forth, but they just took too long to get back to me. And I figured, listen, let me make a decision. And I said, let me stick with Team Kovalev, and I just said, let me stay loyal to Kathy Duva because she always been nice to me. It wasn't so much Sergey. Man, listen, I can't begin to tell how bad he is, but I'm gonna leave that alone for now. I was more loyal to her than to him.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Your loyalty to main events and Kathy Duva and all the great work that they're doing. And just to be clear, if you had worked with Ward, that would have been assisting Virgil Hunter, right? You wouldn't have been replacing Virgil Hunter. I know Virgil's been with Andre his whole career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to help all the fight plan, and shows and tell them what Sergey's weaknesses were and how to devise a better fight plan to beat him. But listen, once they saw him drinking in front of them, he got sloppy drunk. They knew right away what they had to do: go to the body. That's what they had to do.
That's what they did. And so just to wrap it up with Sergey's Kovalev, the whole situation, where is your relationship now? I know that, when he got knocked out by Eleider Alvarez, you said you weren't happy that he got stopped, but you said, of course, the same stuff you're saying here, which is without proper training, he's going to get his ass whipped, you said. And you also said, Sergey was a borderline racist. That makes me think that you obviously don't have a good relationship now. What is the relationship like now?
No, there is none. From after the second fight with the war, that we were done. There was no communication. I knew it was over. He knew it was over. It was done. So, the only time I even bring him up is when I talk to reporters. I don't. I try to not even bring him up. Listen, live your life and do your thing. As long as you don't bother me or try to hurt me, do what you want to do. I don't wish him bad. I don't wish him good. I just say, go live your life. When he got stopped by, I think it was Alvarez, I wasn't shocked. I told everybody it was coming. It's the way his lifestyle and the way he trains. And if Alvarez would have fought him different the second fight, he might have won. But here's the thing, and I tell people with Canelo, Canelo has to be very, very careful. He has to fight Sergey on the inside because Sergey is distant. But if he has room, the one thing you have to remember, he has punching power. And he can't punch and he can't hit. And so Canelo has to get inside and stay inside. You can't give Kovalev room because that's what he needs. If he has the room to punch, Alvarez might be, Canelo might be on the ground. He might be on the canvas. Take a bigger shot. But you need to hit by a guy like this. And nothing else. The last thing to leave a puncher is his punch. And Kovalev has that. So, I'm still picking Canelo, but he has to be careful in his pursuit. He's got to stay close, and he's got to work on the inside. And then don't let Sergey have that long distance to punch from. Once he does, now he's vulnerable to get hit by a good shot.
So that's really interesting. When the fight does happen on November 2nd, are you saying that we'll kind of know early? Because if Sergey has distance and is kind of working from the outside, it may be advantage Sergey. But if Canelo is able to get inside and work the body and get it up close, make it a phone booth fight, then it is going to be advantage Canelo.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not saying that Canelo can't win a decision, but he definitely has to close that distance because Sergey needs the distance to punch. But, if you recall, Ward wrote some blueprint. He started closing the distance on Kovalev. And that's how he got Kovalev. When he was on the outside, it was a difficult fight for him because Kovalev needs distance to land on his power shots. Once he has that, he's in control. But then Ward slowly began to get closer and get closer. So that's a ton. So you got to get that distance back. He didn't listen. So Canelo has to do the same thing. Close that distance, and now you get the advantage. Plus, you're going to go to the body. Sergey needs distance. When he has distance, he's a dangerous fighter. But you close that gap, then you got him. So, listen, Canelo's people aren't stupid. They'll see that. Listen, his loss to Mayweather was the best thing that ever happened to him because he started learning more. He took the time to learn how to become a better fighter. He's fought better fighters in the process, and he's learned these passing fights. So it's more him that has the advantage than Sergey. He has to do the right things in order to win that fight. Close the distance and keep it fight close and tight and go to the body. If he doesn't, he gets himself vulnerable.
And you brought up Mayweather, and I'm just curious your thoughts about how much the weight is going to play a factor in this. Because, so against Mayweather, Canelo had to kind of suck down to 152 for a 154-pound fight. That didn't end well for him. And then if you look at Canelo's experience making other people actually come up in weight, has worked out in his favor. So he made Matthew Hatton had to come up for a 154-pound title. He made Amir Khan come up to a 155 when he was more of a 147 fighter. So this is a big jump, right? This isn't 10 pounds. This is 15 pounds, going from 160 to 175. And we know Canelo's fought a little higher than 160 before, but he's been campaigning mostly at middleweight. So how much of a factor is the weight going to be? Because sometimes you get a fighter who's going up, like even Andre Ward in his first fight with Kovalev. In the first few rounds where Kovalev scored the knockdown, it seemed like Ward shouldn't have been in the ring with him because he wasn't used to fighting a guy this big. So do you expect that at all to happen with Canelo?
No, well, here's the thing. First of all, Canelo, it was smart. I'm not saying he's dumb, so hopefully I don't take that wrong. Here's the thing they should do. Now, he's calling all the shots. Trust me, he calls all the shots. All they got to do is go to Sergey's people, and they have no choice but to take it. They will have a same-day weigh-in. 12 noon, they have a fight. It works in his advantage because, see, if you give Sergey time to regenerate from the day before, it helps him. But if you win the same day of the fight, Canelo should have no problem making 75 at all. So, but Sergey does have a problem making 75 because he loses the weight the wrong way. He didn't have it so bad. It's just bad for him. So what Canelo should do one of two things: either have a same day weigh-in, 12 noon. It works to his advantage. And so what Sergey gonna say? I'm not gonna do it. Then you have no fight. But you don't make the money. He has to take it. He has no choice but to take it. Canelo should do that. Or number two, it still works in his favor at 175 because Sergey has to come down. He has to cut all that weight to get to 175. He doesn't walk around 175. He's walked around as high as 200 pounds before. So to lose all that weight, that's gonna tell him come fight night. Well, on the other hand, Canelo has no problem making 175. That's gonna be so easy for him to make. He's gonna be strong. He's gonna have all his strength, where Sergey won't. So that's why he has to go to the body to get to whatever strength that Sergey has left from making that weight. To zap that from him, it's over. The fight's over because he's going to go to the body and break down whatever reserve power Sergey had left. So that fight, 175, works well for him. But if you want to be real smart about it, just have a same day weigh-in, 12 noon, day of the fight. That will kill Sergey because he can't gain all that weight back in about 8 hours or 10 hours before the fight.
We will see if dehydration clauses and things like that come into effect. Right now, we've just heard the fight is at light heavy, but the details in terms of if there is a second day weigh-in or anything like that, a 10% jump or anything like that, we haven't heard that yet. But it will be interesting to see how that plays out. So I know we talked about you have Clarissa Shields on October 5th, and then we've talking about November 2nd here. So on November 2nd, are you going to be at the fight? Are you going to be watching at home? What's your plan for November 2nd?
I won't watch that fight at all. I hear about it. I might watch it one day, but listen, I'm done. I have no interest in him. I could care less. If he wins or loses, if he wins, more power to him. If he loses, at least he got to get a great payday. I don't wish any harm to him. I don't wish any good to him. Like I say, it's just that's his career, and he does what he wants to do. I'm not a vindictive person. I'm not there to root for him to get hurt, and I don't want that to happen. So I won't really watch the fight. I might watch it down the road later on, but that day, no. I have no interest in the fight at all.
And you obviously are busy training great fighters. I know we talked about Clarissa Shields. I know you work with some heavyweights. And who are you working with, and who are you excited about right now?
Well, I'm still working with Brian Jennings. We're trying to see when his next fight is. I have a kid now. I can't pronounce his name. He's from Dagestan, heavyweight. He was a bronze medalist in 2012 Olympics. He beat Anthony Josh ran the amateurs. He's from I want to say Mata Megadujo. I'll chop his name up. He's a heavyweight, 3-time world amateur champion, heavyweight champion. Real good fighter. He just had his first pro fight 2 weeks ago. He's going to fight again November 30th in Monte Carlo. So it's a young kid I'm working with. I have a couple of up-and-coming fighters that I'm really working with right now. So, in about a year or two, you'll hear about all these guys. Right now, they're learning and then being taught how to fight professionally. So in about a year or two, I have a good crop of fighters coming up.
And just to close it out, I know you had a great career, obviously, as a fighter yourself. When you look back at your career, what was the toughest fight of your great career? I know you fought Bernard Hopkins. I'm sure that was a tough fight. When you look back, what was the most memorable or toughest fight that you had in your career?
The most tough was probably Jorge Castro that I lost. It was fight of the year 1994, December 10th. That was my most memorable fight. But I think my toughest fight had to be when I won my second world title, my WBA middleweight title against Reggie Johnson, because that was a chess match. Two very good southpaw, left-handed boxers, and you had to think in that fight. That was a thinking man's fight. And that was tough. A lot of people think that if you fight a puncher, that's how hard you got to fight. No, when you fight a boxer, that's even harder because especially, when two boxers box against each other, what the fans don't realize is this is a tougher fight because, now you got two skilled fighters. Usually, a good boxer, he relies on having a no defensive, face first guy coming at you. That's he's going to try to beat down your neck. You want that kind of fight because it makes you look good because you're going to dissect him. But when two boxers box one another, now they got to think. You really got a chess match. And, I wasn't worried about the chess match. I love that. It's just that Reggie Johnson was the biggest fighter. And, that was the only person I ever really worried about my life. Just, couldn't sleep, thinking about how am I going to dissect this guy. But finally, I think about 2 in the morning, I said, the hell with it. I know how to beat him. I went to bed finally. But that was a good fight. That was memorable. And it was a chess match. And it wasn't easy. I won a unanimous decision, but it wasn't an easy fight. He definitely was the best boxer I've ever boxed against.
And your career, you ended in 1999. You actually ended your career on a win. Did you ever think about, back then in maybe early 2000s, making a comeback into the ring?
Never. Listen. You mean come back myself?
Yeah, yourself. Did you ever get back in the ring?
I was offered. Once I was offered a lot of fights, and it's just that I would be offered a fight on 2 weeks' notice, maybe 25,000, 30,000. I just said no. I wasn't going to become a stepping stone. I knew I was still good. But I wasn't going to become a stepping stone. A lot of good fighters, they made that mistake. They just wanted the money. And what would happen was, even though some of the fights they probably won but got a bad decision, it looks bad. You start off with a career of maybe like you're 21-0. I knew a fighter, I'm not going to mention his name. When I met him, he was 21-0. When he retired, he was 42-38. And so when you look at his career, he said, man, you lost a lot of fights. Because, it was for the money. And I wasn't going to let that happen. Even though I probably needed the money back then, I wasn't going to belittle my career on myself by taking fights that I knew that I could win but would lose regardless. And so once I retired, I said, that's it, I'm done. I didn't want to come back and start losing a bunch of fights that I should have won, I could have won. I didn't want to belittle my career like that. And, a lot of guys, unfortunately, they fall into that trap because they need the money. And I'm not saying that I didn't need the money, but I wasn't going to belittle myself and just take fights and lose them because of the money. A lot of guys, unfortunately, fall into that trap. So, I just did a couple of things, and one day I was with a shame mode. They called me and said, John, I want you to train me. And I never thought I would be a trainer because my trainer, Georgie Ben, always told me that you'd be a great trainer because, you have patience and you want to teach these guys. I said, I'm not doing that. Boxers are hard-headed. But guess what? Shane called me, and, hey, I started training. And that was how I got my start as a trainer.
And the rest is history, they say. So John David Jackson, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck with the fighters you're training, Brian Jennings, Majidov that you mentioned, and then of course Clarissa Shields fighting on October 5th. That should be a good fight as well. Thank you so much for the time, and best of luck to you, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
That was John David Jackson, a very honest John David Jackson. First breaking down the upcoming fight between Clarissa Shields and Ivana Habazin, and again, I will be speaking to Ivana Habazin later on, but very honest about his relationship and the deterioration of that relationship with Sergey Kovalev. They were a team, and they beat a lot of great fighters, including the great Bernard Hopkins. They had the light heavyweight title. They defended the title. And so now they are no longer together, and John David explained why he's picking Canelo in that mega fight, Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo Alvarez. Up next, Andre Berto. So we've seen Andre Berto through the years. He's fought so many great opponents. He's been a champion himself. He's defended his title. He got injured recently, and he's going to give us his timetable. But most importantly, he fought Shawn Porter, and that was in 2017. So he's going to break down exactly what this upcoming Shawn Porter and Errol Spence fight is going to be like. Berto's going to break it down fundamentally, technically. He's going to tell us what we can look out for early on in that matchup, and that's going to help us know who is actually executing on the game plan that they want. So without further ado, here is Andre Berto.
This is Curran Bhatia for the Ask the Experts podcast, chatting with Andre Berto. So Andre, you had your last fight set up against Miguel Cruz for August,
Yes.
and then unfortunately the bicep injury. So first question, how are you doing? How is recovery going?
I'm doing pretty good. Recovery's going great. I'm actually over here at rehab right now, so healing a lot faster than average for sure. But everything's going really well.
And I know that you suffered the injury in sparring. So
Yeah.
what exactly happened? I know it was probably a rough moment, but just take us through what happened there.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It's the last day of sparring, actually, the last day of sparring until I head out to New York. And then, I've already had just some really intensive, sparring the whole camp. I had some great sparring partners. And, we probably just got a little too excited. Gym full of people, and we just were going at it, man. And, I hit my sparring partner with right hand. He leaned off to the ropes on that that left side, and I came over with a hook. I really didn't get a chance to turn the hook completely over yet before he just really slung his body into that left hand, and it just tore. I just felt it just pop.
And obviously, I'm sure you were excited for that opportunity in August. That was going to be a big fight on a big card. So, what is the timetable now for you in recovery? When can you start training again? When can you fight again? What's the timetable?
I mean, timetable right now, of course. I mean, like I said, getting up quick. They were just trying to slow me down, so I won't go too fast. But I may be back, just training or hitting the bag. I don't know, probably towards the end of this year. And, so I think I'm just going to look for something at the top of the year.
And that's good to hear that. Hopefully you'll be back, this year. And so who do you want, with Miguel Cruz? I know there was a lot of trash talk, especially at the press conference. You guys kind of went back and forth. You want another crack at him, or is there someone else that you'd like to fight next?
Yeah, you know what? I would love it. I mean, like I said, I don't know Miguel Cruz. I don't know Miguel Cruz. I just heard little things about him. Once the fight got made, like I said, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know where he was from. And that's where a lot of that stuff stemmed from, because he was, he was close to my area, and he was training with some of my old coaches and things like that. So that's where a lot of that stuff kind of boiled over from. But I don't know him. I don't care to know him, and but if it's something that they want to make, coming back, I'm more than happy to do that. But like I said, the competition, is pretty heavy in the welterweight division, so it doesn't matter.
And, you're 36 years old now. You started your career 15 years ago. You turned pro in 2004. It's been a great career. You were a champion. You defended your titles many times. You fought the best in the division. So how much do you think is left for you? Because I've seen you on Instagram and stuff after some tough fights, and I know you're kind of contemplating. And you have to after a fight, it's always tough. So how much do you think is left? How many more fights for Andre Berto?
We don't know. We don't know quite yet. Just like you said, it was 15 years now. Just the main thing now, we're so focused that we got a lot more mature when it comes to just the health aspect. So I actually, feel like I'm still in my mid-20s, which is great. But we want to try to be. We want to try to take the step of not staying in there as long as we have to. Longer than we have to. So, and I just see maybe like one or two, and then we might be out. But like I said, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Your last fight against Devin Alexander, you won that, so you're on the winning streak right now. The fight before that was against Shawn Porter, and obviously that's in the news because Shawn Porter is taking on Errol Spence. So you, as someone who's been in the ring with Shawn Porter, and we know he can kind of be a bulldog, get in your face, what is your pick on that fight, Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence? How's that going to play out?
My pick is I'm going to have Spence. I have Spence because of just the youth and just the Olympic pedigree behind him. And, he's very intelligent. He has a great boxing IQ, in there as well. I mean, Shawn is rough. Shawn is rugged. As you can see, with me, he can throw his elbows, he can throw his headbutts. But at the end of the day, he has to get close to you. He won't be able to outbox Spence. I don't believe, Spence has he's long and rangy. He knows how to use his distance. And he's a pretty sharp, southpaw. He always comes in, great shape. So I don't think that intensity of the work, rate that Shawn would bring is going to disturb him. I believe the only way that it's really going to get tough for Spence if he lets Shawn, get very close to him and stay close to him. I know Spence likes to stay in the pocket too, and he likes to dog it out. But when you got a guy that's that's shorter than you, where he can get under your chin, he can hit you with headbutts. I mean, just underneath, he can rough you up in that space, in that capacity. It's different when you're in the pocket with someone else that is technically sound. I mean, where these shots are coming from. You're just turning off of different shots from time to time. But when you have a guy that is awkward, is rugged, and doesn't play by the script of what it's supposed to be, working on the inside, it can be really difficult.
It's gonna be really difficult. It's gonna be interesting. So it sounds like your take is what I'm sure a lot of people in boxing are thinking that if Spence can work the jab, stay on the outside, and try to stop that tornado that is Shawn Porter from getting in his face, he will have success. And he's shown he is able to be the boxer against a smaller opponent. I know Mike is a totally different opponent, but he was able to outbox him and kind of keep him at distance in that fight as well. Yeah, but I don't. The thing with Spence is now, I mean, just seeing some of his interviews, he wants to try to stop Shawn, and I don't think he should get too much outside of himself. Trying to walk Shawn down or trying to stay in the pocket with Shawn just to try to prove a point, because a lot of things can happen, in that pocket. You can get cut. You can take some bad headbutts. You can take some elbows. You can take a lot of different things that can interrupt all that. And I'm sure that eventually, when that fight happens, I'm sure you would like a crack maybe at the winner of that. It is a red hot division. So right now, if you take yourself out of the equation, who do you think is at the top of the division? Because we have Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao put on a great performance. Keith Thurman's in the mix. There's so many names. So who do you see as like the top of the division? I see like top two right now. Or to me, it's Spence and Crawford. Yeah, I think they're gonna have to see each other sooner or later. I understand the politics behind it, but I think that's really going to determine who's the actual top dog of the division. Manny Pacquiao, of course, he's great, but he is a lot older and he's almost out of there. So I say Spence and Crawford. And let's hope that some of the big matchups in that division do come together. When you look back at your great career, do you have you fought so many great people, including Floyd Mayweather. The list goes really on and on. Are there any regrets in your career? Anyone that you wanted to face that you weren't able to? Anything like that? Man, yeah. It's a lot. Of course, everybody knows that me and Shane was supposed to get it in years ago. There was a lot of talk with me and Cotto at the time as well. That should have happened. It just didn't happen at the time. Me and Floyd, back then, before the Victor Ortiz, the first Victor Ortiz fight, what was supposed to happen. Me and Paul Williams. There was a lot of great fights that were supposed to happen. That was a negotiation at the time that never happened. Me and Kermit Cintron. There's a lot of people. It goes on and on. I'm just curious. I know you beat Tim Bradley in the amateur. So was that ever twice? There you go, twice. So did you ever someone that you wanted to fight in the pro? Yeah. Well, like I said, we had Tim Bradley. We've always been friends. So and that fight almost happened too. We spoke about it a lot. Actually on the phone as friends. Trying to make the fight happen. At the time, he was talking to his manager, which was I forgot his name, but yeah, that was a fight that we wanted to try to make happen back then, but politics came involved, and at the time I think I was on HBO, he was on Showtime, and we couldn't make it happen. Seems like, you guys were always on kind of the different sides of the street there. Yeah. When you look back at your, we're just talking about, whoever you'd want to fight or regrets or anything like that, you look back at your first loss against Victor Ortiz. Do you look back at that first of all, it was an epic fight in that 6th round where you kind of had him and then somehow he found that, 2 left hooks. Do you ever look back at that moment in that 6th round and do you ever analyze that of what kind of happened there for the momentum shift? Yeah, just the fight in general. It was just
me just being young and not taking the fight seriously at all. Coming off of a tremendous knockout, and that fight with Floyd was supposed to be next, and we were in a lot of the negotiations, and it didn't happen. He told me, actually Floyd and his team said, well, he needs at least to fight, one more, before me. And at the time, I was real cocky, and I got upset. And they threw Victor Ortiz out. I didn't know anything about Victor Ortiz. And I was just upset, So I didn't really have a serious training camp. I really kind of took it for like whatever. And just spent those 6 weeks just trying to make weight. That's about it. And just fooled around the whole camp, and everybody said what happened.
And I'm sure the fact that you fought Freddie Hernandez before that, it was a first-round knockout for you, so that meant that you fought one professional round in a year, right? Which that didn't help, and but obviously you were able to avenge that, and I think that's great. The one thing I quickly wanted to touch upon is I spoke to you at the gym one time, and you mentioned that the knockdown, when you got knocked down against Victor Ortiz in the rematch, it was actually because of the sun in StubHub Center, which I think is very interesting because it's an outdoor venue, and that actually adds a whole other element, especially in boxing. If the sun is going down and it gets in your eye, that's going to block you from seeing punches, right? The second fight, just really just works in the ring and just going around, and the sun was just right in my face, and I didn't see the punch coming. It wasn't even a hard punch. It felt like he kind of like mushed my face and like kind of pushed me back, but I just didn't see it because the sun was in my face. So that was no different for me. But like I said, we got up and we handled business. And you fought so many great fighters, like we said, and just to close it out, so the Floyd Mayweather fight, the one thing that you really did is you put on the pressure, you really went for it, and you tried to bring the fight to him, but it was difficult. Was that a big learning experience for you against Floyd?
Oh yeah, tremendous. I mean, my thing is, just me getting ready for that one. It was just always, told to me, just the atmosphere was going to be something completely different, and it was. So in camp, I really just shot a lock in to the point of me just not caring what the atmosphere was, and not caring about him and who he was, and just going there and do what I came to do, and that was to not stop and just be ridiculously aggressive and try to stay in his chest and try to stay in his face, because just knowing other people, he's very good at trying to stall the pace. No matter who you are, if you're a fast-paced fighter, just being who he is and just the atmosphere in general, he can stall you all night. So I just wanted to stay in that space of, no, I came here to do a job, and I'm going to be in your face all night.
And that's certainly what you did. You tried to apply the pressure, and he's always tough, as we know. So just to close it out, do you have any message, to your fans, your supporters who are looking forward to seeing you in the ring again soon?
Man, just everybody, just appreciate everybody for the support through all the years, and just like any other time, man, we're gonna get our feet after this injury and get back to it.
All right. Well, Andre Berto, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on all the stuff you in boxing you have accomplished so far, and as we see you in the final stages of your career, looking forward to you to continue taking those challenges, and we hope to see you in there again soon.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
That was Andre Berto giving us an update on what happened there with his injury, when he's going to be back, and of course breaking down the big Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence unification fight, which is coming up on September 28th. My final guest is Ivana Habazin. So who is Ivana Habazin? She's fighting Clarissa Shields on October 5th. And this fight actually was supposed to take place this summer. Clarissa had an injury, and Ivana actually didn't really necessarily believe that excuse, because she posted something on social media saying that she felt that the reason was Clarissa needing more time to make weight, almost accusing her there. So I asked Ivana about that, and I also asked her, what is her game plan against Clarissa Shields? We've seen Clarissa roll over everyone, and And Ivana's been pretty confident. She said she's going to knock out Shields. So I asked her, how exactly does she plan to do that? Here's my conversation with Ivana Habazin.
I am Curran Bhatia, and this is Ask the Experts. I'm speaking to Ivana Habazin. So, Ivana, you have the tough task on October 5th of taking on Clarissa Shields, but you're not coming into it lightly. You're coming in with confidence, and you've actually predicted that you're going to knock out Clarissa Shields. So, just tell me about your confidence coming into this fight and why you are predicting a knockout.
Well, for the first, I'm supposed to be confident. If I am not, then I don't need to go in the ring, But I said, like, if I want to win, I definitely must knock her out, because for all the people, she's gonna be, I'm a underdog, so I think on scorecard it's gonna be really tough to win, but it's not like that I will go for knockout, So the most important thing is boxing, and then the knockouts can come. So everything is possible, and but I feel really ready. I feel sharp. I made preparation like never before. And that's it. I'm ready for fight.
We can hear the confidence in your voice. And this fight was actually originally supposed to be earlier this summer. Then Clarissa said she had an injury and it was pushed back. So when you first heard that the fight was going to be pushed back, what was your reaction at that time?
First thing what I actually thought was like, damn, I'm not going to see my dog 2 more months. Because I went to the training camp. I was training in Bogota in Colombia. I live from Croatia, and everything was postponed, so it wasn't like step back. So I must stay and train and focus for the fight. So actually, maybe in one way, that's good because I get more time. But anyway, I'm always, in training, I'm always trying to stay in shape, so wasn't in some way I had some feeling that something could happen, so the fight will be postponed. But I stay focused. Everything, all these 4 months was I had only one focus and I had only one goal, and that's victory. So yeah, that's it.
And I'm sure you were disappointed that the fight was pushed back. I saw so Clarissa said that she had a knee injury. I saw on social media that you came out and you said, Clarissa, sorry about your fatness. You said, kind of winking, saying, oh, your injury. So do you believe that Clarissa was faking the injury so that she would have more time to make weight?
I think she didn't fake an injury, but definitely she needed more time for make her weight, because at that time, if she was injured, she said she can train normally, so you can lose the weight, because she was overweight. And I think, but the video was like, at that time, it was a good joke, it was a good video, so it wasn't like I want to say something bad. It was, for me, it was a joke, so I think people accept that good, which people accept, which don't, I don't care. So anyway, she's back, she's healthy. She's going to make a weight and we will have the fight, and that's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing. October 5th is the fight. So just last thing about the fight being pushed back, now, like you said, you're away from family, you're away from everyone, and your training camp was actually extended, and that now it's going to be a longer training camp than you normally anticipated. Are you concerned at all about the longer training camp, the possibility of overtraining for this?
No, I'm not concerned about that, because everything was good. My coach make a plan, so we didn't, after the fight was postponed, I took a little break, like 7 days, and then we start again, and it wasn't like too much too early, so everything is good. I feel good. I feel really sharp, it's like I never feel like this before, so I think that I'm gonna show the best me ever.
And are you concerned at all? You know, the fight is going to be in Flint, Michigan, which is Clarissa Shields' hometown. Now, you've never fought in America before, let alone this is going to be her hometown. So not even for the judges necessarily, but just in terms of the crowd. We know the crowd is going to be supporting Clarissa Shields since she's from Flint, Michigan. Are you concerned at all about the crowd?
I'm only concerned about my life. You know, I want to change my life. This is my last chance probably to do something big. So I don't think where I am fighting, because in the ring it's gonna be Clarissa against me. So we are alone inside. Nobody can help you. So that's all. That's all. I just want the people see the good fight. I know everybody will be on her side, but that's normally. So, you know, I don't think about that. For me, that's not important.
And you've had 23 pro fights. Your debut was in 2010. You've fought big names. You fought Cecilia Brækhus. You fought many others. So would you consider this fight against Clarissa Shields on October 5th, is this the biggest moment of your career, the biggest fight of your career?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest moment, because when I fought Cecilia, I was like before 5 years. And I think that women's boxing didn't get support what deserved, you know, at that time. So actually, Clarissa came now. She's undisputed. She go in third division, and she is American and two-time Olympic gold champion. You know, so all media are on her. So definitely, I think it's bigger fight, and definitely, I think it's like in some way she's better than Cecilia, because Cecilia will always choose who she will fight. Clarissa will never do that. She go up, down. You know, so I respect her, and that way is because she showed the mentality of the champion, and she's young, you know, she's like hungry, and she wanna fight. So I really respect that, and this is the one way what motivated me to be better, to train more, you know, like actually he pushed me to do more and more and more.
And I've heard you say that you are more of a complete boxer now than you were before. So do you feel that, you know, with your experience, and you've had a few losses, 3 losses, one to Cecilia Brækhus. The first one was in 2013, your first loss. So have you learned a lot from the losses and grown from those?
Yeah, listen, you always learn from loss or from victory. You always learn, but you know, everything is easy when you win all the time. But when you lose, that's tough. You need to come back. You need to motivate it yourself. You need to come to the gym. All people is around. They watch you on like you are a loser, you know. It's not the same when you are winner or when you lose. So definitely is tough, but you need to find some power in yourself to come back. It's all in desire. If you want or you don't want to do that, you know. So I came back. I really gave everything for this. So I don't doubt in myself, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Like I said, this is boxing. Everything is possible. One punch can make a judgment, and that's all. But this is boxing. You can win or you can lose. So I think everybody has chance in this fight.
And one punch, like you said, can change everything. And obviously being on this stage is going to get you a lot of notoriety. And then this performance will be watched by a lot of people. So not to look ahead of Clarissa Shields, because obviously that is a very, very tough test, you know, probably the toughest test in boxing. But, you know, looking ahead, what do you hope to achieve in the future in boxing? Is there anyone else that you hope to match up with? Do you want to rematch with Cecilia Brækhus? Are there any other names in boxing that you're looking to fight eventually?
Right now, I don't think about anybody else except Clarissa Shields. So we're going to see what's going to happen. And after that, I can talk about future. But right now, my focus is only on Clarissa.
And like we said, you're from Croatia, and I'm sure that your fans will be supporting you on October 5th. What would be your message to your fans and supporters in Croatia?
You know, I just want to, it's not only from fans for Croatia, but I want to say thank you to all people who support me, and I really hope they're going to enjoy. That's the most important thing, you know. Especially now it's time for women's boxing to grow up, and I hope with this fight, we're going to show that women can fight.
Absolutely. And last question, you and Clarissa went back and forth at the press conference. You went back and forth on social media. What would be your final message to Clarissa Shields?
Good luck.
Ivana, Habazin, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck with your fight against Clarissa Shields on October 5th. We'll definitely be watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Talk later, definitely after the fight.
And that brings us to the end here of this episode of Ask the Experts. Enjoy all the boxing coming up. I want to thank all my guests: Shawn Porter, Otto Valene, John David Jackson, Andre Berto, Ivana Habazin, and as we mentioned, Shawn Porter is going to be fighting on September 28th against Errol Spence. Otto Valene just fought. John David Jackson is training Clarissa Shields, who will be fighting on October 5th, and he also used to train Sergey Kovalev, who will now be fighting Canelo Alvarez on November 2nd. Andre Berto is recovering from injury, but he recently fought Shawn Porter. And Ivana Habazin, like I just said, fighting Clarissa Shields on October 5th. Want to thank all my guests. Thank you for listening. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it is at Curran Bhatia, at CurranBhatia. If you want to follow the show, we're on Twitter at ATE_podcast. It's ATE_podcast. If you want to email the show, it's AskTheExpertsPod@gmail.com. If you like what we're doing, go on iTunes, hit subscribe, give us a 5-star review. Thank you once again. This is Curran Bhatia signing off for Ask the Experts.